Hello, my name is Jenny. I am the technology librarian at Louisville Public Library. Part of my job is running the makerspace, and I thought it might be fun to take you through my personal journey of going through a CreativeBug class. So, CreativeBug is this really cool database that we have. It has all kinds of arts and crafts videos, has all kinds of things like sewing and cooking and knitting and even art, watercolor, painting, different types of things like that. It's really expansive video database that has just cool stuff in it. So I decided that I'm going to attempt to go through one of the video classes for sewing because I'm decent at sewing, but not great. So I wanted to tackle a project. And so we're going to flip the camera around. I'll show you how I got there. And then let's go through this project and see how it turns out. So how I got to CreativeBug was from the main library's webpage, so louisvilleco.gov/library. And I went to Learning and Research. From here, you scroll down, big red box, CreativeBug. And then this will give you a cool intro video if you care to watch it. It gives you really good information about the overview of what CreativeBug offers. And then it says success. It'll ask for your library card information. I've already put mine in, so it remembered it. So see latest classes. And here's this big cool list of the different categories. So you've got this daily practice where it teaches you daily skills. Art and design, sewing, quilting, paper, knitting, crocheting. The food section is actually really cool. Jewelry, holiday party kits. And then you can hit this browse all classes. It has way more stuff than just this main page. But I searched earlier through the sewing classes and found this cool drawstring bag, and that's what I'm going to try. So if you just hit view class, it'll bring up, see, I've already been into it, so it asked me if I want to review or play again. But I want to scroll down and kind of show you kind of the layout of this. So it has the description here, so you can click into here and it gives you the information overview about what you're making, the list of what you're going to be learning, things like that. Here's the chapter list. So when I say step-by-step tutorial, this is what I mean. It goes through the overview, the materials, and then each step of cutting out fabric, French seams, making the drawstrings. It gives you, and then it gives you the text information as well. So here's the list of materials you need. Here's a gallery, so you can actually upload what you've made. So after I make it, hopefully I'll be able to upload my own, which would be really cool. There's a discussion section, notes section, and what's really great is there's a transcript for each of the videos. So if you hit transcript, as you go through each of the videos, it'll actually give you the full list of what they're saying, which is really nice. If you catch, or if you miss something, you can go back and catch it. Or if you just like to actually have the written instructions from the video. Really cool. Here we go. Okay, so far, it's had me cut strips for the drawstrings and set them aside. So far, so good. That was pretty easy. I've never used a rotary cutter before. I actually went out and bought the rotary cutter and the cutting pad for this, so that was pretty simple. It explained what a salvage edge was. I knew, but I know that that's definitely a sewing term that not a lot of people know, so far so good. So the next step after cutting my drawstring strips was to take the iron and create your top seams. So one thing that I did kind of struggle with was they mentioned exact 2 inches, like on this part, so I kind of agonized over that a little bit. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Had a bit of a snafu while doing my first drawstring seam. As you can see right here, had to go back over this because my bottom bobbin ran out of thread. So check your bottom bobbins, people. So this was the beginning part of the French seam that they had you do. They have you do like a really close edge on this bag. And as you can see, this is kind of bubbled a little bit. It was a little bit tough. I actually think so far, for this being considered a beginner's video, this is This is actually, I would say, borderline on an intermediate skill. So far, so good. But there have been a couple places that I kind of feel like might be pushing beyond the boundaries of beginner. But we'll keep going and see how this next step turns out. So in full disclosure, I completely screwed up and started to sew the seam at a 5/8 instead of a 3/8, and that's like way too much. So I am now, I can't find my seam ripper. So now I'm using a safety pin to pull out this seam. Made the drawstring the way that they had me make it. It's basically you take those strips of fabric, you attach them to each other, the ones from the beginning of the video, and then you, ooh, I'll have to re-sew that. Oopsies. Then you press it out with your iron a few times and kind of roll it. And then as you can see, it's kind of rolled in the middle. I'll have to fix that spot before I start. But one of the tools that they had on the video was called a loop turner. And I didn't have one of those. So what I did was I just took one of these large, these are bent on purpose, actually. Large safety pins, clipped it through, and that's what I've been using to feed through that drawstring hole. Makes it a little bit easier if you don't have a loop turner, which you really have to go to like a specialty store for that. And I got most of my stuff at just one of the regular old big box stores. And there it is, folks. That is the finished product. Definitely not perfect, but pretty good work, I'd say. I'd say the video was a little bit, I wouldn't say beyond beginner, but I would say kind of advanced beginner. That's about where I would consider myself, and some of that was a little bit tough. But overall, finished product looks really good. Pretty proud of it. So thanks for joining me on my journey through a CreativeBug tutorial. Pretty proud of the finished product, even though it was a little bit harder than I anticipated it to be, but I guess I'm more beginner than I realized, and that's okay. Accidentally dumped coffee on my keyboard, burned myself with the iron a few times, so definitely be careful while you're doing these videos. One thing I will note, they did, as I said, they marked it as beginner, but I will say that she mentioned a few sewing terms that if you're a very, very beginner, may not be familiar with, so Google is your friend on that. As well as they do assume that you know how to use your sewing machine sufficiently, so take note of that when you're tackling any of these videos. That was fun. I would definitely do it again, and I hope you guys attempt some things off of CreativeBug too. Have a good day.